in the beginning, all films were short.
It's not a charity. We're not here to help you. We're not here to help your cause. We're there to make our money make money.
It probably takes a year to 2 years to really start seeing money.
That title of executive producer on a feature is not the same as the title of executive producer on a television show.
Because what you're seeing on television right now is history in terms of where decisions are being made today.
Don't give yourself a bad review before you start.
I'm sorry, I'm super awesome, and this is my pitch.
What are recommendations for packaging?
Getting to the right person at the right time, and you have the right piece of the package that they want to see.
And be able to adjust, because the plan will never execute exactly as you plan it.
If you set aside money for social media, for a publicist, for marketing, things like that, and really you don't have to sit behind those dollars and you can have more control of your own release.
You can't go wrong. For me, I knew that my episode was either going to be awesome or fine. That's the risk you take.
That's right. It is the fantastic. Yes, that's right. It is the amazing La Femme Film Festival 2021. I cannot believe we're already here. It's 2021. So much going on. Such a great festival. Joining me right now is Rebecca Trub. Rebecca, having you on today's cast is going to be a fantastic one. I can guarantee you there are so many films. I know you have never attended the La Femme Film Festival, but I got to say, as a women filmmaker, you yourself know the challenges, the complexities, writing, directing, putting a team together, and then using the team again and again. What would you say is probably one of the biggest things that filmmakers, especially right now during coronavirus and just in these years, need to kind of keep in mind?
I mean, right now it's difficult because there's not a lot of platforms that are, able to provide a lot of areas or spaces to be able to provide the platforms or the funding. I think funding is always a big one, so it's trying to find that, and having film festivals like La Femme that are really giving a platform and a voice for women is a huge thing, because I know, the film industry has been very male dominated, and now this is a great opportunity for women to come together, to support each other, to find funding, to find distribution, and to have a space.
Yeah, and speaking of which, I mean, today I am super happy to announce that it is one of the first times we have ever done a hybrid model, which is both in person, so you can actually check it out at the LA Live Regal Cinema, and it's happening again October 14th through the 17th. You can get either tickets in person and meet all the great filmmakers, see all the films, and or attend virtually. This is one of the very first times we've ever done this, and I'm excited for it because it's just happening in a great way. Last year, we did not have an in-person film festival. We did not have an award show in person. Obviously, it felt very different, but we were able to connect with an international audience as we are this year. So we're excited to bring each and every filmmaker to you personally right here, right now, to talk about this. Again, get your tickets, whether it be online and or virtually. It is lafemme.org. Get your tickets. There's many different ways to do so. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with our first filmmakers of the day. It's going to be an interesting film, Klutz or Klutz, or we'll find out right after these messages. Stay tuned. That's right, and I'm super excited. We have the filmmakers, Elizabeth and Malka. Thank you so very much for joining us. Talk to us. The film, I know I'm going to mess it up, but it starts with a K and ends with a Z, and it's got a dot at the end. What's it called?
Klutz.
Okay, it was Klutz. I didn't know if they had like the little.
Want to call it klutz now because that's just such a fun word to say.
Yeah, right. Klutz. In certain international waters. Look, talk to us about your project. Obviously, you made it. You're here at the La Film Film Festival. Talk to us. Help us out with this project.
Liz, do you want to get us started?
Sure. Well, the film is called Klutz, and it's because it's about a woman who keeps tripping over herself and her life and everything that she's going through. And so I, as the writer, decided to take that and see what it would be if it turned into something literal. So when you are going through something tough in your life and you just keep tripping over yourself, what does that look like? So I gave Malka, our beautiful heroine, the challenge of literally having to trip over everything to figure out her path in life and struggle through the grieving process.
And what was that like? Did you get a body double for that?
I did not.
Did you injure yourself at all?
I did actually injure myself. I broke a cup accidentally. I was throwing it onto a pillow and I missed the pillow and I shattered a mug and a tiny piece lodged in my foot. But our amazing team was just like on top of me with like medical care and like I've never felt so taken care of before in my life. And it was my own doing. So.
Well, that is a method actor. You do understand that. So now you're ready for, of course, like Matrix 8, right? Obviously, Elizabeth, putting a project and a team like this together and finding Malka for it. How long have you been working on the process to get it to now we get to watch it as part of the, La Femme Film Festival family?
It actually came together rather quickly. Malka has an amazing theater company in New York, and I had worked with them before, and we became fast friends through Shakespeare and all the goodness that is doing theater in New York. And so at one point we were talking about, she came to me to write something for her theater company. And then it tumbled and tumbled and tumbled like we like to do, and turned into, well, let's produce a short film instead. So she said that in, I guess, July, and we were shooting by December.
Yeah. Wow.
So pretty quickly, we, just went draft, and had lots and lots and lots of readings and put together our team, and now we're here.
Yeah.
Rebecca, I know you got a question. Go for it.
I just want to know what the funding process was like and how you brought it together so quickly.
Yeah, the funding process was fairly seamless on this project. We were operating on a very, very low budget. And there were two major things that we did. We found investors who are interested in not just funding this project, but helping to fund my production company, Girl Gangs Productions, to sort of help move us forward. And then we also got 501c3 status, which allows us to give non-for-profit, tax deductions as well. And so we got a couple donations through like a mini crowdfunding source in that way, through Fracture Atlas, which is the company we're umbrellaed under.
Smart. That's the way to do it. You get it done. You make sure it gets funded, and then you roll with it. Look, La Femme Film Festival brings a lot of great filmmakers. Is this your first year?
Yeah, it's our first film.
Oh, your first film ever. Well, go ahead.
What does being in La Femme Film Festival mean to you? Like, how has it affected? Were you guys excited?
Yeah, very. I think
thrilled
as like female filmmakers who are new to filmmaking, because we come from a theater background. I think that there was something just so welcoming about these like female focused film festivals like La Femme that made us feel like part of a community instantaneously. And we get to meet other women who are sort of fighting and working to tell stories that shift the narrative in similar ways to the way we are. And so it feels so symbiotic, like we can lift them up, they lift us up, because we all have like a a common purpose in why we are creating the art that we're creating. So I'm
Amazing.
thrilled. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth, what did you want to say?
Oh, I said it, just that we're thrilled. And then Malka said everything was better than me, so I'm going to stick with her.
Well, there's a lot that are submitted. It is always nice to be able to see something on the big screen. I know with coronavirus the way it is, we are always trying to do things safely, but seeing it on the big screen is different than watching it sometimes on a little screen. But we are offering both, again, to each and every person watching. All you have to do is get your tickets at lafemme.org and, of course, see the great project, see how it was done. And I want to say to the both of you, congratulations on Klutz. And Malka, are you good about not being a klutz anymore? Did you learn anything from it?
No, I have failed miserably at learning that lesson.
And Elizabeth, any recommendations if you are a klutz?
Well, I mean, I guess just, careful for what you wish for.
Well
Very
said.
good
Well
note.
said. Roll with it, right? Okay, speaking of which, thank you very much for spending time with us. How can we, of course, find more information on your great film? Do you have a website or Instagram?
We do indeed. It is girlgangproduction.com, or you can find us on Instagram at girlgangsproduction.
Fantastic. Okay, well, we'll see you again this entire week. Can't wait to meet you guys in person, virtually and or in person again. So stay tuned for more right after this of La Femme 2021. We are joined right now with Captive's very own director, Melissa Fung. Melissa, you are joining us with your actually pretty cool feature. It's award-winning first feature documentary. Can you talk to us about the Captive part of it? Because this is an intriguing film of its own.
Thanks for having me, you two. I'm thrilled to be here, first of all. Captive is a very personal film for me. It's my first feature. I'm a journalist, so I don't typically work in, work on stories that are longer than half an hour. And so an 87-minute film was quite challenging, but it's very personal because I wanted to explore the idea of captivity. About 13 years ago, was on assignment in Afghanistan, and I was taken hostage by armed insurgents and held for a month in a hole in the ground in Wardak province. Now, the whole country is controlled by the Taliban, but at the time, it threatened to be an international incident. Thankfully, I was released, but the notion of captivity stays with you, right? That trauma becomes a lens through which you then see other people's stories. It gives you a different perspective. And so, I don't know if you remember in 2014 when we heard the news that about 300 girls were taken from their school by Boko Haram in Nigeria. And I thought, this is crazy. How is this possible? And so the film explores how they deal with captivity, the trauma of captivity, and how they come back from that trauma. So it's personal. It's my story a little bit, but it's also mostly the focus is on them.
Well, and look, Melissa, hearing that type of personal thing and hearing where, of course, Afghanistan is right now and the Taliban, so many flew out, but, many are stuck in the situation. I know here at ABC News Radio, we have talked about that at length in the last few weeks. And this type of film is so heartfelt, obviously, coming with that type of situation personally. I have to ask, though, how difficult was it to put this project together and do so in a way that now everybody's going to see it?
It's a little scary because it is so personal, but it's through this sort of shared experience of captivity that the girls were really able to open up. So we focus on 3 girls who managed to escape from Boko Haram captivity, and we follow their journey over several years, how they are recovering, how they are reintegrating, if they are. And that shared experience makes it more intimate. They were able to open up to me, I think, in a way they probably wouldn't to, any other normal journalist. And so putting it all out there, emotions, warts, everything, it's a little scary, but I think it's important that these stories are told and these girls are not forgotten. Much like what you said, Aaron, the women in Afghanistan that they've left behind. I mean, just to switch topics, I've spent the last 2 months trying to help, a few dozen vulnerable women get out, and it's been pretty hard.
Yeah,
it's incredible. Good for you. I just wanted to know, as a journalist, how did you decide that this was a visual story and not a written story?
It's both, Rebecca, because I am following it up with a book. The name won't be Captive, but that will, that'll take it to another depth. It will be able to, go into the backgrounds of the girls that we didn't have time in the film to deal with, their families, where they came from, and how they're doing now. I mean, we finished filming in 2019, and so a lot has happened since. So the book will take it just one step further.
Smart, very smart. I want to obviously encourage everybody to participate, and then, of course, encourage the conversation to continue. What do you hope happens from those that actually get to see it this week, and of course beyond, whether it be in international waters and or locally here at the Regal Cinema?
I really hope it will. I don't want to say start the conversation, because that conversation has started. I hope it will continue. And I hope it will continue to raise awareness that, there are so many women who are dealing with trauma and trying to come back from it. And their resilience, I think, is really inspiring. And that's what I hope viewers will take away.
Yeah, well, I know our comments already are coming in. Judy said exactly what I think a lot of people are, says awesomeness that they came back from that. But of course, she remembers hearing about that. It's a sad situation. So hearing your situation as well, I know we've got more questions. I wish we had more time, but it is at lafemme.org that you can actually be able to join everybody. Are we going to be able to see you at the after parties and or the award show?
I'm going to be joining you virtually.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
That's all right. That we live in an interconnected world. That's a great part that we get to share. So Melissa Funk, thank you very much for spending time with us. Captive, you can check it out this week at lafemme.org, virtually from anywhere and or in person. I know we already have somebody watching from Walla Walla, Washington. They can join us from there and then some. Jeff Hare as well says this movie sounds amazing. And Jeff, I agree with you as well. Okay, we're going to take a quick little break. We'll be right back with more right after this. That's right. We are here, followed by Camino Faith Walk. Peter and Kristen, thank you for joining us. Look, I understand that this film is going to be one that many people are going to walk away from, and some might even say, how did these two make it work? Because you guys are already a loving couple. I don't know. Do you end up going like, can we just take a moment and not talk to each other because this is stressful making a film?
I know. I don't think that ever came across. At one point, someone asked us, aren't you two ready to not walk together? And we're like, nah, I think we're good.
That's when you know you've got it.
So for those who are familiar with our film, Camino de Santiago Faith Walk is our pilgrimage In 2019, we both left our careers and we needed a place to pivot. So we made a goal to travel to the holiest places in the world and document the commonality between religions, what brings people together, how we are all similar. So this film is the first leg, if you will, of our pilgrimage. So we walked 500 miles across Spain and we carried 20 pounds of camera gear in the backpacks that are behind us. And we documented the lives of pilgrims who we came across and how they changed our lives.
Yeah, I'm looking at the trailer, and I will say this. You know, first of all, I see why you married him so he could take all the equipment. That's number one.
Strong.
You're built like a rock, Peter. Did you find yourself like coming back with more faith than you went?
Yeah, it was a evolution, because when you walk and when you travel at the pace of your own footprint, own footsteps, you really get to the process. So yeah, it was tremendous, and it evolved over time.
And this film, I think, has been a faith walk in itself. At first, we just knew that if we were to do the walk, we had to have a bigger purpose, and that was to be able to share this pilgrimage with people who might not physically be able to walk it in this lifetime. Yeah. And so then we came back and we had 300 minutes of edited footage of every single day of what happened. And then we realized, hey, if we cut all the junk out and focus on the most important moments, I think we've got a documentary. And now we're so honored to be in this film festival. So the making of the film itself has been faith building, I think.
Well, I think it's a good tax write-off, right?
I mean, so.
Right?
We paid for it out of pocket. So like there was no fundraising. We just knew we had to do it. So.
Well, and it looks beautiful. Your equipment and everything. I mean, it's feature length. It really is. I almost see it like I want you to do a faith walk, but I want you to do like what is that one that everybody runs across country and they make like a lot of money in the end or end up, divorced at the end. I think yours brings people together. I think we need to do more of those. You need to like follow 10 couples all doing this faith walk. How many miles do you walk, by the way?
It's 500. So to prepare, we did just like 10 miles at a time. But currently, we're researching how many different pilgrimages there are across the world. And so we are so fascinated. There's one in Japan called Shikoku, where you walk to 88 temples over the course of 90 days. But the blessings really came from spending time in nature and really spending time with ourselves. I think if there was a nugget that everyone came across watching this film, it was to spend time with yourself, spend time in quiet, spend time reflecting, and prioritize yourself so that you can process anything you need to get out of your system.
Yeah, well, I think he got it way out of his system. I saw him kind of go, I'm not ready for another one. Peter, is there any tips that you would give, especially the gentlemen in the room, with their ladies? Because I think this is a good one just to see if you're going to want to get married. You stayed together through this, and I think it's a faith building way of saying, look, go pursue your faith and then come back with more faith, especially together, which I think we've kind of lost. What do you think, Peter?
I lovingly regard myself as the pack mule. You see the horseshoe back there.
Yeah.
So whether it's an emotional support donkey or pack mule, that's how it all started. And if I keep that mentality, I think we'll be doing all right.
Peter is also a very humble and phenomenal drone pilot. So all the beautiful visuals.
I saw that.
Amazing. Came from this guy.
I'm not going to lie. I thought you had a third person back there just kind of going like, okay, I will follow you. I don't know if there are kids in the future or adopted kids, but I'm saying you could get a whole crew out of this,
I like you planning our future. I like where we're going with this. We're open.
I'm just
saying.
This
is the first film of like, now you're going to do all the pilgrimages together.
Lord willing, your words to God's ears, that would be like the biggest gift, because there were countless gifts from this experience. It was incredibly difficult, but with every challenge comes moments of, wow, this was worth it. And this moment is one of those.
Well, before I let you go, I'm going to say this. Of course, walking with faith is one thing. Walking with somebody that can share that faith is another. And then sometimes there's things that just go wrong. Was there anything that you go, thank you, God, for making this happen? Either one of you.
there were a lot of challenges along the way.
I think crashing the drone.
Yeah, we had there were some technical things that happened, but with every challenge we overcame, it just made us stronger. So.
Well, it sounds like you walked with God all the way through and back, and they brought you to La Femme. I'm going to say thank you to the Lord and more. Thank you for bringing this great couple to us. Thank you for spreading this information and this knowledge. Again, for those that want to check it out, it's this week only at La Femme. It's virtually, it's online, it's, of course, in person. You both, again, keep doing what you're going to do. The next film, again, is going to be how soon?
I don't know. We're working on a book currently. There was a testimony written while we were on pilgrimage, which talks about what happened before the pilgrimage and also our experiences in Israel and then 6 weeks in India. And that is called My Journey Back to God. And it should be available on Amazon very soon.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, I can guarantee you Jesus would not want to come back and do that walking thing now that he knows there's electric vehicles. I can guarantee you. Right? It builds, right? Did you get any sores on the feet, Peter?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Get an electric scooter on the next way back. Okay. I'm just saying. You two, thank you so very much for joining us again. It's La Femme 2021. We're so excited for it this week. Get your tickets, lafemme.org. We'll be right back with more right after this. Joining us right now is the amazing team, and I'm sure a big team as well, Donut Chase, actor, writers, and producers, of course, of this fantastic film. You can find it on Instagram at Donut Chase Film. Talk to us, Valerie. Talk to us. You guys are doing this, and you brought it to La Femme. How honored are we?
We are honored.
Yeah, we're very honored. Well, Donut Chase is an idea that came to us and our other writer, Lisa Barron, who's not here, maybe 5 years ago now. And then we did it 3 years after. And it was just a really silly story that was stemmed from one of my personal love for really a donut that's hard to find. That's
smart.
Yeah.
but I gotta ask, I think it was your sugar rush that helped him join you on this rush. Is that true?
To me, yeah, for sure. Without that donut fantasy, we wouldn't have made this film. So sure. Thanks, Val.
Yes, you're welcome.
I know Rebecca's got a question about donuts. She's a huge donut fiend.
You know, I'm Canadian. We're not so donut crazy in Canada, but it is a craze right now. So do you find that it's trending? So it's the hype around the film might be a little bit better.
Yes, it definitely helps. And I feel like donuts have been kind of trendy for the last 2-3 years, and it's been kind of a destination eatery thing. I don't know how to say it, but so it definitely helps. And also I wanted to start a conversation about this too, if other people had a special donut that they can't find anymore that was discontinued or something like that, because when you love something, it's very hard when you can't find it.
Don't we all know?
It's like looking for a soulmate stuck in the Amazon. You cannot find them, and when you do, you say, "Oh my goodness, can I have more?" Is there a moment where you say to the both of you? I mean, okay, because I know you are obviously the donut woman. Are you now a donut man? Are you you know what I mean? And is that the right way to say it? Donut woman, donut
I don't know.
man?
Let's go with it. Yeah, I'm a donut man now.
Okay. Oh, you converted him. I could see. He was fruits and vegetables. Now he's sugar, 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 sugar. No, I'm just joking. Obviously, Donut Chase is more than just about donuts. Talk about the intricacies of this project.
So we wanted to write a story. We wanted to flip the the cliche of body cup, like the male body cup. Yeah, my French accent. Body cup. And then we flipped and had 2 females. And I feel like for us, we felt like it was very common for men to have this body cup thing. And then also the Dumb and Dumber narrative. I feel like women don't really have that platform right now. So we really wanted to explore that and give opportunities for that, because we also can have fun.
I could see that. I see a comment from our comments from our social media right now. I love donuts, just received as a corporate gift this weekend. No joke. Donuts and 2 dozens of yellow roses. That's always nice. I'm looking at your Instagram right now, and I'm seeing, of course, the donuts that look good. Can you give me the top 3, both of you?
Well, number 1 would be the chocolate.
For me, yeah, it's a chocolate cream donut. It's from Dunkin' Donuts, and it's my favorite one, and I cannot find it anywhere anymore.
That's what stemmed this whole idea.
Dunkin' Donuts, bring it back.
Yes, and then there's also at Blue Star Donuts. There's this donut called the bourbon basil blueberry donut. That's so good. Yeah.
Wow.
And we live within walking distance of a donut plant where we frequent in Queens, New York, where we live. And there's also Dough Donut. Whenever we walk by, we can't not go.
Yeah, hibiscus donut. There's so many good ones.
Yeah.
Wow. They're just getting so fancy with these donuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bacon
Who knew
donut.
hibiscus was a good thing for a donut? You have to come to California. I got a good one. I got to do a plug. Tony's Donuts. He's my friend from high school.
Okay.
You can make any donut you want and then some. You just have to prepare him to be like, and then he's got some like cool ones that he just tries. Okay. So maybe Donut Chase 2.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
California.
You could tell Tony we're coming.
Okay.
Yeah. We're also working on the feature length of this short film. So
We are.
There you go. Okay. Obviously, we're excited to have you as part of the family of the 2021. I will say congratulations, you two, on this. Working together. Before we let you go, what's it like when you finish a project, you see it on the big screen, and have you seen it on the big screen?
we haven't yet. Not this
Ooh.
one.
Ooh.
Our premiere is at LA Femme. So
Yeah, La Femme is where it's at, virtually and or online, right? And of course, in person, it's at the Regal Cinema. So check out it very simply. Go find them on Instagram. Find us at La Femme, all social media handles. We're excited to have you. We're excited to be joined with you and the rest. Oh, and really quick, before we let you lady go, we're going to talk to the guy real quick. I know it's La Femme, but dude, how cool is it to have smart women at the head?
Oh, amazing.
Yes.
They do it better than we can. That's for sure.
Right? You're like,
oh yeah, no, she's so cool under pressure.
I can tell.
My head's spinning. I'm freaking out. I'm seeing red. She's
Balance.
like, we got this. Don't worry.
Yeah, the yin and the yang, right?
That's it.
That's it.
We need
All right, cool. Judy, really quick before we let you go, says, I was on a donut search a few years ago when I found it again at the bakery where I just found it, but months apart, City Market in Rawlins, Wyoming. I'm telling you, you're getting some suggestions. I think you guys need
You're
to go
going on the road.
And then write it off, right? It's an expense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then go to all the places where you can get film tax credits. Boom. Rebecca knows how to do that, right, Rebecca?
Yeah.
So there we go. Okay, guys.
Canada.
Canada.
Absolutely.
She's got but remember, they're not donut people. She just said it. So,
Right,
they're wrong.
But it's trending. It's trending though.
You need to convert her. That's all I'm saying. Okay. We'll be back with more. Thank you very much, both of you. Donut Chase. It's this week. And of course, online. Check it out. Get your tickets, lafemme.org. We'll be back right after this. We're joined right now with Monique Sargent of Wait, hold on. It is Rockabye Baby or it is Rockabye Oh, baby. Which is it?
It's Rockabye Baby. I'm not sure what you mean by oh, but I would love to find out.
I think there's a feature length second double on this. We got to talk about it. I already looked at this. It looks amazing. Talk to us. There's going to be a lot of films this week, but yours makes a very special entrance. Can you talk about it?
It makes a very special entrance. How so? You mean the opening shot? Sorry, I'm
all of it.
So basically, Rockabye Baby is the story of a drug deal that goes wrong when the dealers get to the drop and find out that instead of cocaine, they have a live baby. And one of them doesn't want to give it back. So that's
the cocaine or the baby? Which is it?
Well, they don't have the cocaine. They only have the baby, and the baby is adorable.
Oh.
So the baby kind of steals the show, and most people will want to watch it just for the baby, I think. But yeah, the idea behind it was, if women ran drug operations, they would be smart enough to know that if you just put cocaine into baby carriers and then put like a baby doll on top and a blanket, you could go trade your cocaine in plain sight without looking shady at all. So these drug dealers dress up like guys, they drive Priuses, and they just trade their cocaine in public parks with children playing in the background. So that's kind of what the setup is at the very beginning of the movie. And then when they get there this one time, the baby doll is not a doll to their surprise, but an actual live baby. And that kind of sets everything in motion.
So it's a divine intervention of the highest accord. Is that where we're going with that?
I mean, I'm not going to give any spoilers away, but basically, did they get lucky? Did they get unlucky? We don't know. What I can say is that, like, from the bottom of my heart, I wanted to make a film, even though it's a comedy, and I'm really focused on making comedies in my life. I really believe that comedies can also still have messages. They're just like more fun and easier to grasp, and maybe even sometimes communicate better because people don't feel like they're being preached to. So I was motivated to make this movie because I wanted to show a man who's a big, tough drug dealer, but still wants nothing more in his life than to be a loving father. And that's why one of them sees the baby and he doesn't want to give it back. It's kind of his life's dream to be a father. I mean, all this is very obvious in the film. But for me, as a feminist comedy filmmaker, it really came from the place of wanting to represent something that was a counter argument to toxic masculinity, to just say, look, you can be like this great, tough guy and still be a really loving father who wants to stay at home and, wants nothing more than just to be a dad. So that was sort of where, the whole concept came from for me and why I wanted to make this film.
Amazing. And this is not your first film in La Femme either.
No, it's not. I had Sorry Not Sorry in La Femme in 2019, which was a lot of fun and let me know how fun La Femme is to be a part of. So yeah, this is my second time. I'm an alumni, very excited to be coming back.
I actually remember that. That was like 3 years ago, I want to say.
It was 2019, so it was really 2 years ago, but it feels like 3 years because we've been in a pandemic and no one's left the house. Like, I think it was like the last live one, possibly.
It was actually, 2020. We went all virtual. This year we're doing the first hybrid, Regal Cinema, obviously the awards, and then some being on location. You remember, of course, we've had so many different locations, but the Regal Cinema has always been the best. LA Live, it's where it's at. But you can also tune in virtually from anywhere, international waters, and then some. So yours obviously is going to make some people go, should I do this? Is there any tips that you give to new baby people that save babies? Because I'm hoping they saved them in the end.
Well, I mean, it's a comedy, so everyone's kind of nice and fun in it. Even though they're drug dealers, they're not actually scary. It's like, I think like with my comedy, if you look at Sorry Not Sorry and Rockabye Baby together, what you'll find is like Sorry Not Sorry is making a mountain out of a molehill, whereas like basically taking a very mundane issue and making it like really important, whereas this one does the opposite. It takes a really important issue and makes it really mundane.
Well, I think you're doing it right. I'm getting ready to laugh. I will, somebody said no on the cocaine of the baby thing, but you gotta watch it first, and then wait till the end to say, okay, I get it, right?
It's a good time, and strangely, it's a completely inoffensive movie.
Even better.
And we need more comedy right now, way more.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to laugh a little bit.
And you will love this baby. I found the cutest baby incarnation.
Okay, Rockabye Baby. I believe it. Just make sure you keep that one from getting in any other criminal's hands. I'm just saying.
Well, once it's in a criminal's hand, that criminal has the means to protect the baby from escaping.
Yes, thank you.
And
Preach that
gives up his wrong ways.
Well, he didn't. I mean, I don't want to give away the whole movie. But
part two, redemption.
Yeah,
okay.
part two. Basically, you find out that I'm also kind of saying in the movie that not all criminals are bad people. Sometimes people just end up in this line of work by no fault of their own, and that's very much the case with our friendly neighborhood drug dealers. They just kind of, at least the one who wants to be the dad, just kind of ended up here through the best intentions. So I don't want to give the whole thing away because it's only 5 minutes, and
Even
so.
Better.
The more we talk about it, the more I've told you every single thing that happened.
Well, I'm looking for
we can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I think Rebecca and I agree. We need to make this a feature, right, Rebecca?
Yeah. Thank you. A lot of people have definitely advocated for that. So we'll see. If someone wants to make it a feature, just call me.
There it is.
Perfect.
Okay.
And I'm reachable
That's
also on all the social medias at Monique Sorgan.
All right,
Perfect.
people. It's a great. We got shorts, we got features, we got documentaries, we got it all. It is this week and more. LaFemme.org is where it's at. We'll be back with more. Thank you, Monique, for joining us.
Thank you. I'll see you there.
All
Bye.
Joining us right now is Renata. Renata, I'm going to let you. I'm going to mess it up.
I'm not even going to try that one.
Or Malayo? Malau.
Milão, but in English, I guess we go for Malau.
Although it would be in certain tropical places, Malau, right, Renata?
I'm from Brazil, yeah.
See? Yeah, you never know where the origin is sometimes. But Renata, I will say this. I'm looking at your Instagram right now. This is a 27-minute short film about a woman who finds herself uncontrollably jumping between 3 parallel lives. That sounds like a difficult time in anybody's life. What was that like?
Oh, man. I feel like the inspiration for this film comes from that feeling of being in your own life, but sort of wondering, what would my life be if I had taken this path or that path, or sometimes feeling like you're many people in one person. I think probably all of us have that experience of sometimes of just, either wondering if we, screwed up along the way, or just feeling like, we could do all these different things, but, time doesn't allow it. So I think that's kind of, and I think Alexis definitely has a really hard time figuring it out, as most of us would, I think. Yeah.
I think Rebecca has balanced that. I'm just saying, right, Rebecca?
Oh, definitely. Most definitely. So the film is called Alexis, and this is your first professional film.
Yeah, it is.
And why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got into that, why you got into that, how was the process for you?
So, well, I've always wanted to be a filmmaker. I think that's the only thing I ever knew I wanted to do in my life, for sure. I mean, 100%. But I also knew that I wanted to live and to have a sort of a lot of life experience before doing anything. So I studied a lot. I spent a lot of time just kind of really understanding film and how I wanted to make a film. And then I wrote this as a feature, actually. So I have the feature script first for the professional program in screenwriting at UCLA. And then I thought, well, I'm going to make my first, proper short, professional, have everything be as it should. What should I do? And then this script really spoke to me. I was sitting with it for a long time, and I said, I can boil it down, the elements, to the core of what, the film is about, which is identity and sort of, I guess also came from a place of depression. I struggle with that as well sometimes. And I think a lot of people do. And so that sense of like, if everything that we are is taken away from us, everything you think you are, your identity, when that goes away, who are you? Like what are you? What is the point of everything that we do? And I think that question, comes back again and again to me as a filmmaker and as a person as well,
It's funny that you say that, if I can speak on that. We live at a time where, you mentioned the D word. Nobody likes to say it. Nobody likes to throw it out. There's so many thoughts about it, but we've all felt it, especially in the last few years. I've gone to like a funeral every single other week. It's a pain in the butt because you don't want to know somebody that you love has passed away. But sometimes people have to deal with other types of troubles right now. Having this type of film that addresses that and more, is there anything that you are left with, or that you say, or that you meet with people and they go, I get it, like, thank you for saying that?
A lot of people have, talked to me about this and said, I understand, I feel that way, I get her, and I get what she's going through, even though the story is very different from, I think, most of our experience in the world. The emotions, the feeling of it, I think you're right, Aaron. I think a lot of people don't deal with the reality of how they're really feeling. And when you don't do that, there's, it just grows inside you. And at some point, it becomes a sort of an existential crisis. I think a lot of people get to that at some point in their lives. And so I think, we have to address it in some way. And I think in film, the great thing about movies is you can really allow yourself to feel all these things and to think all these things without, feeling that it's just you and it's about you, without feeling uncomfortable about it. You can really let yourself kind of go on that journey, and it leaves you with some questions. And I've had a lot of people, come up to me and be like, I wanted to watch it again and again. And like, I wish it was a feature and things like that, because they wanted to be in that place where you can explore, those feelings and be honest with it.
I know you have a question, Rebecca. Go ahead.
I just want to say it's a great conversation starter, and I think it's important to have those types of films that make you question and be able to have conversations with a connected community who are all kind of feeling the same thing.
Yeah, and I will say, some people wonder why a short versus a feature. Can you just speak on that really quick, and why shorts are also very important to the cinema world of things?
Yeah, I do think shorts, are, I love shorts, I really do. However, I do think this film wants to be a feature in a way. Like, it has there are things that could be expanded in it. And I think that as a short, a lot of people had a bit of a hard time in terms of festivals and stuff, understanding everything that's in this film, because it's really packed in. It's very complex, So I feel like if it's not a feature, it should be at least a short that you can watch multiple times, because it's layered. It has a lot of, so, I do think that I really hope that we're going to end up having more platforms where shorts can be watched multiple times, just like features, because I think people also have less time sometimes to watch an entire feature, and they just want to watch something a bit shorter. And I think it would be great, to have that be part of our mainstream culture, as well as the art culture.
I think it could be done. Yeah, I think it can be done. I remember watching little shorts of people's like graphic artistry and like combined into like a little half-hour segment. I think yours could do it. Again, it's 27 minutes, so it's more than a typical short, like 10, 15 minutes. I will say it's more like, with the proper ads, like on a television platform, it could totally rock. So I want to say thank you for doing this. But when you say it begs to be a feature, are you going to be joining this year with all the other filmmakers to help make it a feature? Maybe make 3.
I will definitely be there at La Femme. I'm very
awesome.
excited. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Rebecca could put it together really quick. I'm just saying, but she's in Canada, so she's.
I would love to.
Amazing.
She's got the Canadian hookup, if you know what I mean. With stuff.
I'm a citizen of the world. I would love to.
Same.
All right, thank you very much, Renata, for spending time with us again. La Femme, Film Festival. It's this year, 2021, virtually, online, and in person. Regal Cinemas in LA Live next to the Staples Center. Get your tickets now. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more with Rebecca and I here at the Film Festival. We'll be back with more.
Thank you, guys.
We're joined by Mary Robbins of Womankind. We just jumped in on her and we said, Mary, look, bring your script over to us and let us look at it. We have a great thing. Sometimes it's film, sometimes it's features, sometimes it's short, sometimes it's documentary, sometimes it's animated. And sometimes we do the screenwriting project of it all, getting ready to be made. Mary, you're one of those people. What's this project and what is it that we can look forward to in the coming years?
So this is a pilot. It's an original pilot, and it's called Womankind. And it's about what if women ran the world, have always run the world.
Oh.
So, yeah.
We'd be ahead. We would have been
This is
safe.
something I'm very passionate about. I love this.
I am too. This is my passion project. So it starts in 1955. And there is a man who is deciding that he wants to be more liberated because in my pilot and the way I envision it, it's actually just reversed. And so men don't drive cars. Men don't own their own cars, right? What a big deal that is, right? And and they don't own the finances. They run the house and the children. And so basically what happens in this pilot is we see men experience the same kind of life that women experience with less equality. And it's a really important understanding. It created such a, I don't know how to explain, but it created surprises for me when I was writing it. I was surprised by some of the things that I didn't even realize are still issues that are so small that happen on a regular basis between men and women, and how women are not viewed as equal. And it surprised my husband as well.
Well, you know what? Look, and Rebecca said it was very close to her heart, but I will say this, Mary. Obviously, I think there's a balance. There's a reason we're all on this earth. I'm just saying. But having said that, the women, I get what your title is, but the women world that I foresee is like an Amazon warrior princess situation where the men get saved by the women. Is that what we're going with?
No. So what happens is there's a man, Chip, and he's running the household, and he decides that he wants to be liberated. So he works toward liberation. He works on the liberation movement. He actually eventually, because I wrote the whole series out, he works in the 9 to 5 movement, which was really a movement of secretaries creating the first union. So we follow men as they try to explore these having freedom and having their own bank accounts and it goes through 10 years from 1955 to 1965, and the season goes on. But this is just the original pilot when we're first understanding how in this, they objectify men, right? So men have to look good, and women get to wear a lot less.
Hold on.
I'm really liking this.
So I'm sorry, there's an alarm going off in the background and I can't turn it off. So I can't get to it. So
we can barely hear it.
Oh, good. So all these women are really high-powered women who are the head of companies and department stores, and the young people their children basically are now going to school, and what we see are children becoming, where the son asks, like, have there ever been male presidents? And the whole class basically laughs because, female presidents, no, male presidents. Now I'm getting all confused.
Male.
Well, yeah, male presidents. And the class sort of laughs and says that's ridiculous. And then, you know, on the wallpapers, as small as the wallpaper in the little girl's room has microscopes and telescopes and things on it, and the little boys just has like toys. You know, so there's small things in here that are embedded that make you understand that there are small things that actually create ideas about who we are, including the stories we tell each other, including the fairy tales. You know, fairy tales sort of go that way too. So it's changing the fairy tales and changing the stories we tell each other, and that's what I'm hoping to do with this.
Well, I can see Rebecca posing as the you know, the woman who ends up becoming the president in your film. I'm just saying, but Rebecca, obviously, you have a question.
Yeah, no, I just want to know maybe what is the biggest differentiating factor if women ran the world in the story?
It's
or in real life.
That's a really good question, because it's one world. It's a world. So instead of it being the United States and Russia, it's a one world order. And it's you know, they pledge allegiance to the world flag, and they every culture is evenly accepted, and everybody's the same as far as every culture is appreciated. And I think women would offer that kind of a experience, because I think women, and there's no war. Nobody dies in a war, because in my mind, no mother wants their child to die. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I feel like they wouldn't. That's why the world order would have come together that way.
That's interesting. I wonder what complications would happen though on the opposite end. Be like, would you want like? But you know what? I think you're doing it right, Mary. And I think before we let you go, who would be your featured, like, if you could pick your exact opposite, you know, people in this, who would be your top choice? Just throwing it out there. I know you're open to anything, but just saying.
I mean, top choice as far as who would be the lead.
Yeah.
I'm
available. Just saying.
You're there. You could be Chip. But I did want to put a plug out for a web series that's coming out in December. It's called Farm Girl, and I created this web series, and there's this amazing actress who's the lead in it. So please look for Farm Girl on YouTube.
All right, we're gonna look for that and more. Mary,
She's my daughter.
Even better. Oh, okay.
So
then
cute.
Daughter of Mary, you got a good head on your shoulders. The fact that you have a father that obviously says, you know what, I understand this. Maybe we should definitely make more of that transition than not. I'm all for that, really, Mary. Seriously, because then the men can understand what it's like to do everything else, right? Because they think women don't already do everything, but seriously. Womankind, it's out. La Femme Film Festival pretty soon, coming to you, screenwriting. Thank you, Mary, for spending time with us.
Thank you very much.
Right after this.
Okay.
We're here joined by Alex October. It is a feature film. It is one in which we cannot wait to talk about this. It is one where a hopeless man places a bizarre classified, but his plan to kill himself takes a turn when ... I don't know what to do.
What happens?
That was Tara making her grand entrance. She played.
Yes.
It worked.
Nice timing, Tara.
I had to actually turn on the camera to make it work.
Yeah, she works in front of the camera, not behind you guys.
Exactly.
Well, I will say right now, okay, I can already tell that this was obviously a great crew situation. I'm glad nobody got depressed and wanted to kill themselves. What was the thought behind this, just to make this into a feature? The hopeless man, of course, getting into classified. That already leaves me going, what happens next?
What is the classified?
Josh Hope, our writer director, he wrote this script while living in Chicago, and it was something that was really important to him at the time. He probably could better speak to about why he wrote it, but I just know when I met Josh at a film festival years ago that our film was paired in together, and I read the script. We wanted to, after meeting each other and getting to know each other, we were like, we really want to work together on something, and he had sent me a few of the scripts that he'd been working on. And this one in particular, after I read it, I was like, we have to make this. I don't care how, I don't care what we have to do, but this movie has to get made because people need to see this. People need to feel hope. People need to be reminded that everyone has, their own struggles that they're dealing with. And the kinder that we are to people, one small gesture can change someone's day or even their life without you realizing it. And I just thought the whole overall theme and the story was just really moving to me when I first read it.
Well, I'm looking at your website as well. Do you guys want to give that out?
Yes, it's alexoctobermovie.com.
Yeah.
And we also have our Instagram, which is One Productions.
Okay. And looking at that, obviously, I will say this right now, it looks beautifully shot. I mean, it reminds me of kind of like a cool Batman episode. Obviously, the coloring and all this, you really put a lot of time and effort in this.
I am so happy that you bring that up, Aaron. Yash Khanna was our cinematographer. He's fantastic. Tara knew him from another project that she had worked on with him. And when Yash came on board, it really elevated everything we were doing in this film. We were working with a very tight budget. We shot in Chicago, which is a fantastic city, and the people were just fantastic. But Yash and the gaffer that worked, sorry, we need to update that trailer. That was our promo for the festival we just wrapped up. But Yash and his gaffer, Teague, really just elevated the look, the feel of the film. And then we were very blessed to be able to have a fantastic editor. So everybody involved in this film just really put their heart and soul into it. And we're very proud of, how it looks, as well as the story that we're telling. Josh Hope just wrote a beautiful script, and then the performances of the actors are just incredible. So we're very, very happy to be in the festival and talking with you guys. It's like your baby that you just want to show the world, and like hopefully nobody goes, oh, your baby's kind of ugly.
I mean, I guess that's always the scariest part, is putting it out there. Have you heard what has been the feedback since? I mean, we've been getting some comments that people are saying that they saw it and it was fabulous.
Oh.
Well,
thank
Tara,
you.
do you want to jump in?
Yeah, thank you to whoever got to see it. We screened it for the first time. I got to see it actually for the first time recently too. And it was like overwhelming. I feel like I blacked out during it. It was like finally seeing, like Lisa said, your baby, and finally seeing it all done. It was really overwhelming. But we're so excited to share it with everybody. And I can't wait for people to come out and see it. And I'm so thrilled to be a part of a female-driven and female-led festival. I think that's super empowering and exciting because it's hard as a female in this industry to make my way. And that's why, I mean, like when I met Lisa, she's a powerhouse of a producer, and I've learned so much from her. This was my first time ever doing any kind of a feature length or trying to take on a project like this. And I would not really call myself a producer, really. It was out of like necessity. But when I met Lisa and having her, come on and take the reins and use her expertise and her experience was just like a godsend.
Well,
Rebecca, to answer your question though,
I got way off topic. Sorry.
Yeah, the response has been really, really positive, which has been, again, it's a little bit scary putting your film out. We were so fortunate. We just premiered at Dances with Film at the Chinese Theater, and then now to be able to be in La Femme and screening at, the Regal. It's just really exciting, especially with COVID that we are, have the opportunity to share our film with people in the theater setting is really fantastic. I'm grateful to also be able to do the virtual so more people can see it. But we've had a fantastic response, both from men and women, which is really, it's a very universal story. We deal with mental health. And as Tara mentioned, I think why I gravitated to the screenplay, and I'm very happy that the film kind of fulfilled the promises of Trub's beautiful script, is that we're all people in this journey together. And sometimes the person who you think is just a big jerk, there's something they're going through. People have pain. And frankly, our two main characters, Alex and October, on the face of it, are not very likable people. And yet Tara and Brad Hunt, who plays our lead, did such a fantastic job of tapping into the humanity of who they are and making us as an audience really root for them. And it's, and Josh is very dry. There's a dark comedy element to the film. So it's a good ride. And it was so fantastic to share it with an audience and see how they respond. We've had good feedback so far.
Well, I'm very excited to see it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And again, she can watch it from Canada because she can't make it to the LA premiere, but she can watch it online. Thank God for our ability to do so. And of course, we have a DRM available, so that means it is not going to be able to be pirated. That's the great part about the Femme Film Festival this year as well. So it is a great hybrid, able to be watched from our international audience as well. So for people that want to get tickets, it's lafemme.org. Check it out. Fantastic film. Keep it up. You got a great team together. I cannot wait to see the next feature film from you two.
Thank
you, Aaron and Rebecca.
All right, more right after this. Stay tuned. We're here with Anna Gerasimova. Hi, Anna. Look, your film right now, I'm looking at it right now. It has so many awards, so many nominations. Thank you for bringing it to the La Femme Film Festival.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, The Breath of Life. It's a 2D feature-length fantasy animation beyond the boundaries of magic. I'm already going to tell you right now, I'm ready for it.
Thank you so much for having us. It really is an honor.
And you made this with your husband.
Yes, it was made in a team of two. It was quite an adventure on its own. And we actually had to learn how to make most of things. So my husband is a professional artist. But other than that, we pretty much had to learn everything from scratch. And we really want this project to be like an inspiration for other people, just to believe if they have a story, if they are really inspired by their own story and want to tell it, there are ways to make it. If, just to stay consistent, and it really is possible.
Well, and I'm looking at it, obviously, being able, this is kind of reminding me back in the day of Walt Disney and his wife and the rest of the crew. They did everything from scratch as well, and they made it go next level. Obviously, La Femme Film Festival has all different types, as I mentioned, but more importantly, this film has more magic than you're kind of alluding to, and I think the story brings about kind of something that we haven't seen before. Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. So it is a high fantasy world. So it's a completely new world that consists of different nations, and each nation has its own unique magic. And so the main characters, they have this big adventure. They travel around the world, and they're trying to discover the mystery of the cursed nation. And so all these nations, they actually were inspired by the real countries of the past, or the real nations of the past. And so, for example, I have like Magi of Dreams there, and they can tell a fortune, and they have other skills, but they were inspired by ancient Chinese culture.
Oh.
And so yeah, like Magi of Natural Forces, they have all this weather powers, and they were inspired by the Viking culture, and so on. Of course, the main character, see, I am from Russia, and the main character is from the Live in Nature nation, and she this nation was inspired by Slavic cultures. But yeah, I was trying to create this really balanced world, and of course we have the female protagonist there that is very strong in her magic, but there's more behind it. It really is her feminine power that kind of helps to make this twist at the end among all these male leaders. And well,
I love that.
Hopefully, yeah, people can relate with that.
I'm already looking forward to it. Whenever you bring magic into the universe of this world, I say, why not dream? Bring the kids, bring the parents, and learn to dream. But I will say the voices of this particular film as well. How did you find them, and how did you bring them together, and what was that process like, especially being, an independent film producer and not going like, Lucasfilm, although I think that's probably next in your future.
Right. Well, we were actually very lucky with our voice actors. We had to ask a couple of friends to do it, but we are very lucky. For example, I needed a girl who would have an authentic Chinese accent, and we happened to have a relative that helped us out, and I think she did a fantastic job. But we did have a few really professional actors, and we just found them online and just worked with them on the role. And I think we were just really, really lucky. They did a fantastic job, and they understood that they have to try to do the authentic accent, even though it's a magical world. But if it is a Roman emperor, I want an Italian accent. And the voice actor, I think he did a brilliant job. We still, Arthur and I, he did such a powerful job of this character, voicing him. Arthur and I, we still just talk like him. We try to mimic him just, in our everyday life. We really love the job that we did.
Well,
so
breathoflifemovie.com is where you can find it, but you can watch it this week, and I'm so excited about it. It is, again, at the La Femme Film Festival 2021. You can get your tickets at lafemme.org. Get more information there. You'll be amazed by it. And Anna, thank you for being part of our family. I can't wait to meet you in person.
We are so thrilled. Thank you.
Absolutely. More when we get back right after this. We're here with Beating Superbugs. I'm going to tell you right now, I am ready to beat them down and more. I can tell Bill has already kind of done that with his pad. It looks very clean. I'm telling you right now, there are certain people that I think do not understand the superbug situation that we're currently finding ourselves. Right, Jane?
Absolutely, because superbugs work hand in glove with viruses, specifically the current virus and its offspring. So COVID and superbugs are paired. Very often victims of COVID become ill, weakened, and so weakened that superbugs, especially because COVID affects the lungs, the Klebsiella pneumonia superbug will come in and perform the kill. So this is their pairing. And this could happen in future pandemics as well. So there's a present danger But we have solutions in this film. It's a solution-oriented film. We were able to get some excellent interviewees, not only in science, but in economics and politics, where the rubber hits the road, as you know. To make science work, we need advocates in the national, international scene. And so we have those people telling the story.
Well, and I'm glad you're doing so, because I can tell you right now, superbugs or any type of bugs that are constantly passing viruses can be a problem, especially when one person goes to the hospital and then another person ends up kind of staying there, and then you wonder what's going on. Bill, are you now kind of a little afraid to stay anywhere at all?
I'm vaccinated. I'm in good health. So no, I'm not super afraid, but there are places like hospitals where you do need to be pretty cautious, where your chances of bringing something home are much greater than visiting your friend's house. No question about that.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful. And really, it sounds so obvious. Wash your hands. Be careful about the things that you touch. It's boring, but it's effective. You really do have to think about that. But much bigger picture, we wanted people who watched our film to know that this isn't just another crisis fatigue movie. This is a film that shows a way forward. And I put that challenge to any other documentary filmmaker who's highlighting something that's wrong in the world. That if you're just telling us about, the southwestern United States is drying up, it's like, okay, we kind of already knew that and don't really care how artistically you get that across. Show us a way to fix it. So that's what we wanted to do here. This is a solvable problem. It's not quick, cheap, or easy, but it can be done.
Rebecca, were you afraid of superbugs? I mean, bed bugs is one thing, but super?
I'm afraid of any bugs, really. But no, I think that staying very healthy, taking care of yourself is. I'm in Canada, so it's a little bit more of a lifestyle here that we eat healthy, take care of ourselves than it is in America. So it's a little bit different.
Well, I will say again, Jean, before we let you go, you obviously wanted to bring awareness where there is none. That sometimes is the most difficult thing to do, Jean. And you did so in a way that makes people go, shoot, I need to go just get a brand new bed or not, right?
Well, I think people make the mistake of saying that all bacteria are bad. They're not. And that's how we begin the film, by saying we owe our lives to our ancestors, the good bacteria.
And that's not just
bacteria are the ones the ones that become resistant to our weaponry, namely antibiotics or other methods. There are other methods to treat superbugs, which we deal with, as you know, a whole range of them, fortunately.
Yeah.
So anyway, we wanted to make that very, very basic germ phobia consciousness in the public, shatter that a little bit and say bacteria as a general genre are good for us. And we need to know the distinction between the good and the bad.
And we wouldn't be alive without bacteria. The processes in your body would not work without the good bacteria.
And I'm looking at a review from Joachim Larsen, who's the director for Center for Antibiotic Resistance Research, says this is probably the best documentary on antibiotic resistance I've ever seen. It combines scientific strictness with a language that any layman can understand. I'm very much the layman person, but so is my mom, and I like to feature stuff that make her smarter. So thank you very much, both of you, and I'm sure the entire team that did this. I will say thank you for bringing it to La Femme, because it's good to not only just be entertained, but also be kind of going, okay, so we're
informed and
Right?
educated.
Yeah. So thank you
so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Including us.
Absolutely. That's right.
Hello.
We are happy to have Jennifer Anscott with us. Jennifer, thank you for joining us. Look, I understand your feature as a director, editor, is an award-winning documentary about the fight against forced marriage in Malawi, Africa, which was actually shot on location. This is a very important thing that's been talked about before, but I think you've done it differently this time, right?
Well, this is really, it is sort of an unusual story. And a lot of people, the first question out of their mouths is, why did you make a film about this in Malawi? You know, we have this in the United States. And in fact, forced marriage, underage marriage, it's all over the world. But there's a great story behind it.
Yeah.
My dad was a secret philanthropist. I knew that, but I didn't know what all he did. And after he died 13 years ago, I found this handmade brick in his home office, and I didn't know what it was. I also had to write his obituary, and I didn't know what to write. So I started asking everybody, tell me things that you know of. And it turns out that he funded the building of a community center, which is in the middle of nowhere in Malawi, that has now blossomed. It's this orphan care center. They are now feeding 1,200 orphans a day at Anscott Hall. There is a building there with my name on it.
Oh my God.
Mind-blowing. So I knew nothing about this. So I kind of got to know the people then because I felt like I inherited these children from dad. All of these children, by the way, it was from, there was an epidemic of AIDS followed by a drought. So of course there was huge need and a vast number of orphans. Well, fast forward about 10 years, which was 3 years ago, one of the girls in the orphan care project named Alanafe, she was forced to marry a man who was about 20 years older than she was. She had no say. She lost then her chance to fulfill her dreams. And so they came to me because they knew me by then as a filmmaker, and they said, can you do anything? So my partner, Andy Gardner, and I at Leap Year Films, I saw you just showing some of our website, leapyearmedia.com. We said, let's see what we can do. So we raised the funds. We went to Malawi. I did my research, and I said, here's who I want to interview. I had 2 interviews I especially wanted. One was Alanafe, the girl herself, and I did get her. And I cried. I cried. But number one, I wanted Chief Teresa Kachindamoto. Now, this woman is a superstar in the world of girls' rights. And she is amazing on camera. Of course, she's been interviewed by everybody in the world, so I guess that would explain it. She's funny while she's talking about this really difficult subject. She talks about not only their struggle, but what they have accomplished. It's very hopeful to see what this country, one of the poorest countries in the world, guys, they've made it illegal. I mean, it's still happening because the thing with tribal cultures is Parliament might say this, but this is our culture. This is what we do. And there's Teresa Kachindamoto. And in Chief Kachindamoto's words, sometimes culture must be stopped. And I get chills every time I think about her saying that. She is fighting it. She has canceled at this point. She's approaching 3,000 forced marriages. She's just out there with a
I thought a bride price would be worth $80,000. What happened with it's a chicken?
A chicken.
A chicken. Sometimes Alanafe was sold for the equivalent of about $20. It is just a mindset that girls' value is in barter. Now, sometimes for a certain girl, you might get a couple of cows, but you could sell her for a chicken. And it just breaks my heart that. And what we're doing right now with our Malawian partners is we're dubbing the film into Chichewa. The chief is in charge of about 1 million people. And she wants this dubbed into Chichewa because a lot of the people in her tribe are not literate. They certainly wouldn't understand English. So the film is partly in Chichewa, partly in English I said that backwards. In Chichewa with English subtitles or people speaking English. We need to dub the whole thing into Chichewa for her. She's going to take her laptop from village to village to village to, as she says, attempt to change the mindset. And that is, cultural sexism is hard to change, but they're doing it. And it's just one drop in an ocean of problems that girls face.
Right.
But, it's a wonderful job what they're doing, and I'm just thrilled to have been asked to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I have so many questions about the filming process. Like, was it dangerous? Did you,
No.
Okay.
No, Malawi's not a dangerous country. In fact, it is. They're like their name for themselves is the warm heart of Africa. I have never met such dignified people in my life. Like I said, among the poorest in the world, every single person I met had clean and pressed clothes. Who presses clothes anymore? They don't even have electricity. What are they doing?
My grandmother.
They were so lovely and charming and bent over backwards helpful.
Even the men?
Even the men, because the men we interviewed were men who were fighting for the change as well.
Got it.
And what was were there other men that knew what you guys were trying to do, what your goal is?
Yeah, there is one man that we interviewed. He had married a young girl. I don't know how old he was. I would say 40-ish. And he had married this teenager who's featured in the film. And in fact, he's featured in the film. And he's talking about how after he married her, he realized she needed to be in school because she wasn't good enough. So he just let her go.
Wow.
Okay. Not good enough. Because she was what, 12? So I don't even know how to. I'm afraid to know how to translate. Not good enough.
Right.
I believe she is back in school.
And look, yeah, it is a problem, obviously, and it needs to be talked about as well. I hope this gets to the next level. It's called The Bride Price, an award-winning documentary, again, about the fight against forced marriage. And I think, if anything, this is called, well, let's just put it this way. If that happened here, there were certain people who would be locked up. So I'm just saying there needs to be somebody who needs to talk to somebody. I'll come there in person.
It happens here. It does. We have a bunch of states where the minimum marriage age is 0. It doesn't exist. Yeah. It's mind-blowing.
And I wonder how many come out of that area, Malawi, go there and then come back, and then they never get talked about. You know what I mean? So yeah. So we need to go that next level. You need a good investigative group. I think Rebecca knows how to do that. She's a good spy. Just saying.
I could be a great spy.
One guy said to me, make this just chapter 1 and now go to this country and go to this, go to New Jersey or New York or wherever, where you have Hasidic Jewish girls who are forced to marry.
Yes, absolutely.
And I thought, well, I don't know. If somebody got a few $1 million, I'll do it.
I'm joining you. I'll join you.
I welcome you aboard. It's worth fighting.
And we're all joining you. Again, it is all about sharing. La Femme Film Festival 2021 is where it's at. We get that information out both virtually and in person, the Regal Cinema. It is going to be a fantastic time. I can't wait to talk more to you, Jennifer, especially behind the scenes. I got some ideas already. We need to get some world organizations in on this. We're talking about women ruling the world. I think that's
the overlying theme right now.
I'm just delighted to come back. I was there 5 years ago. I remember Aaron interviewing me by the pool at the Avalon.
Oh, that's right.
And it's one of my favorite festivals. So I was just so excited to be back. And it is an appropriate topic for this festival, I think.
Well, I'm glad you're back. I know Leslie Lepage, the founder and creator of this, has been working hard behind the scenes to get this done right. And I want to say thank you, Jennifer, for coming back. You're an alumni of the family, and I'm glad to see you again. Congratulations on this fantastic documentary. We'll see you all very soon, right after these messages. lafemme.org. We're joined with Tessie Harasti, and Tessie has a fantastic film. I can't wait to talk about The Jewels of Light. As a producer and actor, obviously, in this, Tessie, putting this together and bringing it to the La Femme Film Festival. First of all, thank you for submitting, and I'm glad it was chosen. Share with our viewers what this particular film, which looks very interesting, does it include the Elven? Or the Elven making a special appearance here?
Well, no, this is particularly a proof of concept for a whole TV series that I have written. I wrote the original novel and created all these realms and these dialects and these maps I'm like a super nerd. So, but this story in particular, I wanted to bring. I think that right now in the world we have a very serious problem of segregation, and we are divided in every sense of the way, and we find more classifications and more ways to divide each other. So I wanted to find a world in the realm of using fantasy as a medium to bring that unification again into the world.
Smart. Again, how do you say her name?
Who, Gelira?
Yeah, Galera. You got to be careful on that. She might cut you.
Yeah, Gelira and Ilsebel, they're two women. I also wanted to break the stereotype in fantasy about how women are portrayed. These women are the women that I knew in my family, the Latina power that is like, oh, we have a problem, let me solve it, I'll deal with it, you know? So it's not like, oh, I'll wait for someone to rescue me, let's see, you know? And there are more characters that are coming right now in this proof of concept. I could only do a snapshot of what Gelira and Ilsebel go through because it's so ambitious. It required a lot of budget and it required a lot of time and patience and a beautiful team that helped us get these images, this makeup effects, special effects. Fantasy is a different thing. It's a very, very ambitious project. So I really hope that this can become a TV series that could be streamed everywhere and that could bring into the hearts of people something that is more like, okay, how can we find the things that connects us together, the universals, right? The being human, the love, the hunger, the poverty, the richness, everything, culture and everything that brings us together instead of continuously separating us.
Well, it looks amazing. I can't wait to watch it. It's Jewels of Light Film, and you can follow them on Instagram. That's where we saw the trailer right there. Again, I'm looking forward to you kind of taking it to the next level, and I want to ask, what will it take to get there? Because you're being surrounded by a bunch of filmmakers and then some.
Well, it takes a lot of budget. I think that one episode, they're 1 hour episodes. And I think that one episode is going between $800,000 to $1 million per episode. So it's a very ambitious project because of all the makeup that is required, the scenery, the people. But I really think that it's wonderful. I have characters that touch into the Asian culture. I have characters that touch into the Middle Eastern culture. And these are women that expose very serious problems like genitalia, circumcision in women, and all of that through fantasy. And that would break the stigma of how women are usually portrayed as victims. Instead, I want to flip that and say, we go through shit, but we survive. Pardon my French.
I didn't know the French talk that way. Rebecca, I know, can totally like hold a bow and arrow. Any suggestions, Rebecca?
I'm so excited to see this film. I just kind of want to know, what was the biggest challenge in even creating the feature?
Well, first, finding the space where we could shoot this. This is a SAG-AFTRA project, so a lot of requirements were taken into consideration. Then gather the materials that we were going to use, gather a makeup artist, that everything within our small budget, because me and my friend Andy, the girl that plays Gelira, we financed everything ourselves.
Wow.
So we had to work and bring the money and bring people that we could get and say, well, this is a mini budget, so can you help us do this? Can you help us do that? So I think that was the biggest challenge. But everybody that participated in this small film, they did it with all their heart. They're incredibly talented people. And we even had rattlesnakes on set. When I was sitting, like doing the meditation, I had rattlesnakes next to me. And I was like, okay, well, I might die here, but let's do this.
Good way to go out. I'm so glad you didn't.
It's a good story.
Yeah, the next story. Just do the thing and then chop the head off and then say, we're good. Read the element of the old, which says, we're going to eat that? Oh, rat is better. I'm joking.
Part of the catering service. We didn't have a lot of budget. So we said like, okay, let's eat snakes.
Yeah, I get that. I totally
Well, it's a great story and I'm very excited to see it.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for La Femme. I always dreamed to be in this festival. I never, in my wildest dreams, thought I would be selected. So I'm really appreciative of your time and having me here.
Well, we are
We're
happy to have
excited.
you part of the new family as part of our future alumni, because I can't wait to see what comes up, because I can guarantee you the panels, especially this week, that can be tuned in. You can get your tickets, get an all access pass. It's $49.99. It makes a great world of difference in learning what the things that you need to know, the intricacies, and then putting you in touch with the people that actually make things happen. Tessie, thank you for being part of us this year.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be back with more right after this. We're here with Christina Rose. Christina, it is a very interesting topic. It's something that we're starting to see a lot of, a woman's new world. You got this. I got to ask, what was the thoughts behind what you wanted to do? And then did it turn out exactly the way you wanted with this?
Actually, yes, it did. So we're kind of doing a bigger series on women in underrepresented industries. And I was shocked because I didn't notice that female conductors are very much underrepresented. Just about 11% in the top 2021 orchestras in the world.
Right.
Are women, and we're not even talking about composers because they're even lower. And so, but we really wanted to feature a female conductor. I was lucky enough to come across Tiani Liu, who actually had her debut at the Hollywood Bowl this year. So she's one to watch for the future because she's quite amazing, and I think she's going to do great things for decades to come.
Well, I can tell you right now, it is more than just waving a baton, right? What did you learn, Christina, by doing this particular feature?
Actually, I learned so much, I have to say, because there's so much more than goes into being a conductor that I have to admit that I was really naive, that I didn't know, that really Tiani will study these pieces for months before she actually performs them. And the thing is, even Dvorak's piece, which is one that really is close to her heart because it's something she grew up with, and obviously we touch upon it a little bit in terms of the subject matter, because Dvorak, wrote it when he was in the US and when he came back to Europe, basically. It's a very nostalgic piece that has ties into her childhood, but even that piece is a repertoire she will go on to perform multiple times, many years. And even when we were with her, she was studying it again, and she's like, oh, there's something that I didn't see or didn't recognize. So even years after, she still finds new things about that piece, which is, to me, fascinating.
Well, and I will say this. I'm looking at your Instagram, by the way. Great job. Mirror Water Entertainment. We create inspirational film and TV content for the global market and are part of the Hollywood movement. Or I'm sorry, Hollywood world movement. Very, very interesting the way you said that. But I'm looking at another one coming up soon. And I know this one looks amazing. Wonder Women Shaping the Future. It seems like there's a theme here, which I think we need to kind of push on a little bit further. Women being at the head of things. Man, do they excel? And I will say sometimes the men go, they don't give enough credit. They go, I if I could tell you how many women I've learned from, I've become smarter being around women.
Yeah,
no, I actually had a female conductor growing up as well. That I didn't realize it was such an undervalued thing in the music world.
Yeah, it's something I think you wouldn't think of, that it would be underrepresented. You're absolutely right. And honestly, when I found out, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. And I was just like, why is this? But it's, Tiani will usually in normal time, pre-pandemic time, she would travel 70%, 75% of her time. She would always be on the road. So I think obviously for women who also always have the question of family, having children, I think that ties into the problem, so to say. But Tiani's a force. I mean, there's so much I learned, so great inspiration, and she's really one to watch. For anybody who loves music, definitely have her on your radar.
And what was do you have a background in music, or what was your?
I don't. I have no background in music, so I had to really learn to understand certain things she was talking about to really be able to speak her language. But she was so kind in all of it. And, you know, I think in a way, the fact that I don't know that much, and she explains the way it works, the way orchestration works, what she needs to understand, because you're right, it's not just about waving your arms, but it's also understanding how instruments, like how they are used, and their challenges in certain understanding certain cues. So it's something that I learned a lot about.
There's a lot of communication that happens, just with your eyes, and that everyone, I that's what I like most about dealing with a conductor is learning how to pick up on their little cues.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really interesting because we only see conductors from the back, right? When we're in an audience.
Absolutely.
And
you have no idea.
Yeah, obviously one of the things we wanted to do is also see her do the work. And it's poetry, the way she moves her hands, the way she, there's so much passion in her body language and the way she, conducts and communicates with these musicians. It's amazing.
Well, I think more stories need to be told like this. I think you're doing a great job. I can see a whole series of this, one right after the other in your future. Thank you for, of course, getting this to us. I can't wait to watch it as part of everybody else. Again, it's the La Femme Film Festival. Again, lafemme.org. You can get all the tickets right there, and we'll be back with more. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you so much.
We're here with Kathleen Ireland. Kathleen, I will say again, great job on this. I know you're a songwriter and, of course, a recording artist. It is one which it's called Elevator. Talk to me. I usually sometimes take the stairs just to go up and down, but elevator means something I think a whole other thing, right?
Well, yes, I think it's just maybe a metaphor for ups and downs in a relationship.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of a relationship, Kathleen, Elevator, bringing it to the world of the film festival circuit, now is there possibly a collaboration coming up down the line, maybe with the song in one of the films that you're probably looking at? Because I know you've been doing some research on the other films, right?
Well, I mean, that is my hope. I am a complete newbie to the whole film festival world.
Welcome.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And I'm so grateful to Leslie and to La Femme for inviting us. We cannot wait to attend. And I'm totally new to this. So that is the goal, Aaron. That's what I'm hoping, that maybe I get some of my music, Elevator, or one of my other songs into a film or television or commercials, something like that would be wonderful.
Well, and I'm looking at it again. You can be found at Kathleen Ireland, and it is already the poster. I'm looking at the poster with you getting into the elevator with the guy. Is that kind of the impetus? Did you meet him? Did you write it, or how did this happen?
No, so that was actually an actor. That gentleman is Cole Masick. That is my co-star in this video, and he is a very talented mixed martial arts boxer.
Got it.
And a realtor also. And I
successful.
The triple hyphen.
He's very handsome. I was just looking for, someone that buff body, and he fit the bill. But he's wonderful to work with. He was very, very sweet, and it's kind of a fantasy sequence. Yes, the elevator. He's kind of like the Uber Eats delivery guy in the elevator, and then it goes into this whole fantasy sequence of my imagination.
Your fantasies.
Take an Ireland, take a guy and put him in an elevator. What do you get? You got to check it out. Again, the La Femme Film Festival. You got to be part of the entire group. I'm telling you, get one full pass, or you can get even for the Shorts Indoor Festival short season, of course, that we have with the features. But Kathleen, before we let you go, obviously bringing your entire team together on this project, sometimes people don't understand what an independent producer goes through. It looks great in the end, but what were like a couple good moments that you said, you know what, I can do this for life?
We're there.
Well, when it comes to music, I think I've always felt I could do this for life. And I have been doing it for most of my adult life. But this whole branching out into original music, which I would like to mention, my co-writer on this song was Ryan M. Tedder. There's another famous Ryan Tedder that's a music producer, but this one is Ryan M. Tedder. He's worked with Ariana Grande and J-Lo and Meghan Trainor and now Kathleen Ireland. And he's a fabulous songwriter. He did the music portion, and I do the lyrics and melody, of course. And so that, just getting the song written is the first step. But that's extremely enjoyable for me. Doing the video production, that gets a little more complicated when you're new, like I am. But I have a fabulous director, Joe Chilcott, who is also a musician, so he knows both sides of what we're working on. He knows how important the music is. He knows how to make that music shine. But we worked together. I wrote the script for it, but he brought the whole vision to life. And every step of the way, it's something new. So it's a challenge, but in the end, I think it all worked together. All three of us, Ryan Tedder and Joe Chilcott and myself, working together just brought the whole vision to life. And we're very pleased with the outcome. And it has been recognized in some other film festivals as well. So we're just very excited. This is a very, very exciting year.
Well, we're
excited. Great. Are you guys going to be working on anything else?
Oh, yes. So this is only my, I have 4 songs released right now, but I actually have 12 songs. 11 are completed, and I'm still working on another one. But I mean, I think it's going to be a continuing relationship,
partnership.
Yeah,
that's such a great thing when that happens.
Yes, yeah, I'm the right people. So I'm very happy.
Well, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for this year. I'm excited to see it, and I say congratulations on the songwriting. Keep it going and keep it rocking. All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. More right here, right after these messages. We're here with Ewan Lang, and Ewan Lang, you haven't seen what I've seen. I'm sorry. You haven't seen, well, you have seen what I've seen, but not yet because we haven't seen the film. Wait, how does this go? Wait, what is the title and what does it mean? Because I don't know if I want to see what you've seen now.
It's Eva Lang. It's Eva Lang. I will make it easier for you. And well, I wanted to make the film from the child's point of view. And while I was researching on the subject, which is violence in the family, I found this sentence said by a child to a psychologist: "You haven't seen what I've seen," and it resonated so much. So I used it as a title, and it was like the main thought that was hanging above me while I was writing a script and while I was directing the film.
Well, and this deals with a very serious subject, which again, some people don't know how to deal with it. You did so. Is there certain things that you go as very like sensitive to where you go, I don't know where to go with this?
Well, there are some stories that are really hard to tell, but I also thought that it has to be told, and I'm not the only one telling it. And I focused on working with my child actress. I was going around the subject in a very sensitive way, but also she's a child from a very happy family, so that I didn't touch any personal trauma. She was in the safe space. It was her first time on screen.
Wow.
She was taken care of by her mom actress, and they formed quite a good team together.
Well, yeah, I'm looking at the trailer on your Instagram, by the way, and it's one of which, you know, it looks calming. Number one, the way you shot it was great, but I gotta imagine, you know, the stories that kind of come out when sometimes people go, I don't want to talk about it, but I think I need to. Do you get that sometimes with this?
Well, yes, this is how the idea of the film was born. It's partly my story, but it's also the story of many of my female and male friends. We are from the generation that start talking about the childhood trauma, and it's not very rare. It can be more or less intense, but it happens. So I think it's time to talk about it.
Yeah.
And are you hoping that this kind of becomes that conversation starter?
Well, I think the conversation is already going. I would just like to add the point of view of a really small child that is stuck between the love to both of the parents and the wish for well-being of both of them as well, which is not always possible.
Yeah, again, you can see it. I am Ling here again, and you got a lot of great stuff as a director. Obviously, you got to take features and do it in a way that you say, okay, I got to do it justice. Is there ever things that you say I leave with, and then some?
Well, we shot in a really private environment, and we were really small team. Also, partly because of the budget, because it was my diploma film from film school, so we had a tiny budget, like €500. And but also I wrote the script to be placed, the film to be placed in a secluded house close to the lake. You know, it was very all intimate. So we didn't all we shot what was written to be shot. So there wasn't much to choose from, and I was also very focused on leading the little girl, the main actress, so she doesn't. We didn't want to force her too much. We wanted her to be in front of the camera rather than act, and I think this is what that was the most important thing for me.
Well, there's a moment, and it's in the trailer that you had there on Instagram. I wish Dad were dead, and that is a very.
No, I wish Dad would disappear.
Okay, I wish certain dads were dead. I'm not going to lie, that do that type of thing. But disappear, get out of my life. What's your message to families that kind of need to address this? And because there's sometimes the children can't speak up because they don't know how, or they just don't even say it.
Of course, very often they don't say it because they want to protect both of the parents. So to speak up very often means you have to give away one of your parents and you still love them. But yes, in the film, he actually disappears. We never see the male character. We never see the father. It's the fear or maybe this wish coming true causing him to be outside of the frame. We hear him. We hear a lot of him. We hear the fear, but we never see the parents. And this is, the message is not get out of my life. Just don't destroy my life the way you're doing it.
Well, the title is a very important title. You haven't seen what I've seen. And I will say, if you have, I will say to parents, sometimes that don't know if they can trust their kids for coming out of these things, I say, be careful what you ask for, because they sometimes lock it up. And some kids, even from trauma, they forget. And I will say, get that information out, see it. You can see it this week and more at the Femme Film Festival. These are the type of stories that need to be told. And thank you for making that happen.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
More after this. We're here with somebody I have seen before. I know I have, but I will say this feature I have not seen. Lilias Addy.
It's a short film.
I'm sorry?
It's a short film.
Well, but it's a good film, and it's part of a family. Yeah, at least. Obviously, being a good one, I will say, what can people anticipate with this one?
Well, it's a story about a woman who was a real woman who was accused of witchcraft in Scotland in 1704. And I came across this story because I saw a photograph in the newspaper of the real woman. Well, obviously not the real woman, but historians had digitally reconstructed her face from her exhumed skull, and they made her look really kind and lovely. And historians were trying to reframe witches as the sort of lovely, as normal women, rather than these kind of vile creatures that we've come to know them as through, in the stories and films that we've seen. So I thought I'd take that idea and go with it and just create a little story around this real woman, but painting her to be, this kind, lovely person who's just a victim of this really awful, tragedy. And I, did some research after I saw the photo, and I found her actual confession and the actual accusation against her. And it was just extraordinary. It blew me away because the confession, she said sort of these extraordinary things about the devil, like, she said, he was black and pale. And she said he had, feet like a cow and things like that, which was just, you can't help but think through my modern lens, oh, maybe she's having them on. And I just sort of like this idea of this woman who found herself in this situation of being accused of this thing, which obviously is nonsense, and just sort of slightly, taking control back by creating this fantasy around it. So yeah, I just made a little film, my first, around this story.
And I've heard that the head of departments are all female.
Yes,
that you worked with, your crew.
Were female, exactly. And I didn't really set out to do that, but it was just, it was a really amazing experience. They were all completely brilliant. And and I totally loved it. It was a great experience for my first time. I used to be an actress many years ago, and have been doing various things, including having children and whatever. And I wanted to do this, and it was I absolutely loved it.
Well, at least go ahead.
No,
I was just going to say, which job did you prefer more, acting or the creating part?
Oh, definitely this. I mean, look, I haven't acted for a long time. I did it for about 12 years. And the difference is just the lack of control you have. With this, it was my story, my decision. I made it because I wanted to. I actioned everything. And as an actress, it's obvious to say, but the control and the power is just never with you. You get picked, don't get picked, and unless you're extremely successful, that is. And so no, I definitely prefer this, and I loved writing, and I hope to do a lot more of it.
At least I can tell you right now, you're probably going to do this for years to come. Obviously, joining a great team of people is always good. And, moving forward, I will say features always are a big, big feat to take on. Shorts are a little bit more manageable. What would be your advice to those that, are kind of doing, feature length stuff in their heads, but it's so important to stick to a short to get it done, especially when it comes to finances and sometimes time. You got kids.
It's difficult for me to give advice after having only made one. I feel like I'm probably not the right person to ask. I think, you know, the way round I did this was that I had this little idea, and I set out to make a short, and then once I was in the world of the short, and in the characters, then the idea for a feature kind of rolled on from that. And so I have written a feature that's set in the same world, and so that's the way round it worked for me. But that's because I really set out to write a short. So I wrote a 15-page script. And yeah, because obviously when you're setting out, I mean, who's going to give me, loads of money to make a feature, having never done it before, so you've got to start, for me, I think, you've got to start small and build up your experience and build up your confidence. I wanted to, answer the question, could I do it? And so it's an empowering thing when you do it and you think, yes, I can, because no one, I think for women generally, and maybe this isn't true, but it's my experience that they don't get given things in the same way. They have to take it for themselves. No one said to me, why don't you make it? I think you'd be brilliant at this, or why don't you, it's you have to take that space. You have to step into that space. And and I'm really pleased that I did, because I can do it. And I guess that would be my message, would be, if you think you might be able to, then you probably can.
There it is. It's belief. Yeah. Once you have the belief and then you do, then that makes it so much easier the next few times, right?
Absolutely. I think that's also an easier way for women to go about it too, is we kind of have to prove to ourselves that we can do it before we jump right in, whereas men might just jump right in first. That's
true. I think that's true. But I mean, I wouldn't know any way else to do it, because you get that confidence to know that you can. I would be terrified of just faking it, but maybe that is
it works for men. I don't know about us.
Hey, it's the good yin and yang. We got to get kids somewhere. We got to work together, right? So I say value the women in your lives, and of course motivate them. And women, God, we cannot live without you. I'm serious.
My daughter just gave me this note, the best woman ever. She just slid it at my door. She's 10 years old. And because she's, I just thought, this is, so
sweet.
Elise Dutoy, is that how you say your last name?
Dutoy, yeah. No, it's South African. It's Dutoy.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, I got it right. Rebecca and I've always. She's very French. She's very oui.
Everything. It's a French name. It's French.
It is a French name originally, but it's been taken by.
It's like Charlize Theron or Theron.
But actually, Tron. That's how you would actually pronounce it in South Africa.
Yes. See, there we go. We just learned something. All right, people. Again, you can check it out this week. It is happening. Get your tickets, lafemme.org. Lelias Ari, thank you very much for spending time with us here on the morning show. Sorry, ABC News Radio too, or wherever. We are here with somebody who has been a first-time director. Thank God we get this film as a first-time director. Liz McBee, I will say you did this, and it is called Burning the Village. Well, I'm going to say right now, right there, I would be scared of you as a first-time director, because I'd be like, what is she ready to do? What is she ready to light? But you did this due to a personal experience, postpartum depression, and you help self-finance this, you self-fund, you self-produce this. Liz, I think you're stronger for it. Thank you.
Thank you. I definitely feel stronger for it. It was quite the passion project for a very long time.
Yeah, you shot this over 13 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us about what that was like.
Well, I mean, it's kind of obvious. I had kids. So that's what started this journey. And, trying to juggle work and kids. And I worked in film production, but when the postpartum hit me, I had no idea what it was. I knew that, something was not right. But it just really sunk me into this just crazy dark cloud. But again, I had no idea what it was. And it just took me a long time first to get out of that. And then, I had two beautiful young daughters who kept me super busy. And so the project kept getting put on the back burner, kept going to the back since it was self-funded and I was just trying to get it done. And so that's kind of the journey. And then they went off out of the house and I got to finish it. So.
Smart. Liz, some people don't talk about it enough. Postpartum depression can be debilitating for a lot of people, even especially when you don't sometimes know you have it. You just realize all the complexities of everything. A lot of people, especially now, you know, with coronavirus and then some prior to coronavirus, it's already difficult. Now you got that as part of it. And then you just have, some people call them the baby blues, but it's so much more than that. Can you kind of give the right information out there that you want people, especially the men out there and even fellow women that sometimes don't understand what that means, you know, to the full?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that luckily we're moving into a direction of more awareness of mental health. And so that helps. But people around the mother or around the new family should keep an eye out, you know, watch them and see how they're coping or not coping. And if you're going through it yourself, you know, chances are you don't know, because a lot of the media, you know, and the sensationalized stories are women who have killed their kids or something like that. So everyone's like, no, that's not what I have. That's
a worst case scenario, right? That's a worst case.
That's actually a whole different thing.
Yeah. Then there doesn't seem to be a lot of conversation about in between either. You're supposed to, you know, have this magical experience where your child is born and you're so in love and your world changes, and only talk about that there's alternative feelings.
Exactly. And the film actually talks about that as well, where, you know, motherhood's supposed to be joyful and it's just not sometimes.
And what happens when it's not.
Exactly. And so that's the whole concept of bringing your village, and, you know, to quote that cliche of it takes a village, you know, to raise a child, and it takes a village to watch the women who are actually going through this, because it's a very physical thing.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and you don't know the complexities of just life around the situation. So I will say, you know, everybody has their own journey, yet it's important to share that journey with one another. Sometimes you just want to kind of go into a hole and not share anything. What would you say to those maybe even going through it right now?
Yeah. Is, you know, there's so much shame around it. There's so much shame around stigma, you know, the stigma and everything. And just try to really get out, you know, try to, I don't know. It's so hard because when you're in it, you know, you can't just like go out or do something. But it's really, I think, up to like the medical professionals who are seeing these women, especially pediatricians, because they see them more often than
a good check-in, huh?
Exactly. And I guess the biggest thing is be honest about your feelings. Be honest about those kind of creepy thoughts that are going on, maybe, or the darkness that might be happening. So, you know, dismiss the shame, basically, is really big. So,
I mean, I'm grateful that you made a film like this, and you know, people can actually have this conversation and start talking about it.
I hope so. Yeah. Thank you. I'm so honored. Oh my God. So honored to be a part of it.
We're so honored to have you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Burning the Village. You can actually check it out, burningthevillagedocumentary.com. Check out the trailer there as well. And then watch it along with all the other great filmmakers here at the La Femme Film Festival 2021. It is the International Film Festival. I'm going to throw that back in because it could be seen from anyone and everyone.
In
you
Canada.
don't have to be at the Regal Cinema. You can see it in Canada. Spread the word, Rebecca. We'll be back right after these messages.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
Bye.
We are joined by Marietta Melrose. And Marietta, obviously, you are doing what next as a creator, actress, producer, obviously, and comedy. What next? But it's hashtag what next, right?
Exactly. Hashtag what next. Actually, this is a very personal story to me. I moved to LA right after college, and I called my mom and I was like, you know what? I want to stay here. I moved out on a tourist visa, not realizing how I'm going to make it work. And, you know, with immigration, it takes a while and it's a very complicated process.
Yeah.
And I started interning in this PR agency, having access to a lot of reality TV stars and social media influencers. I just really wanted to learn how the industry works. What I didn't realize is that they're really difficult to work with. And I worked with an influencer with millions of followers who's always in the press for all the wrong reasons. And I had to do that while staying under the radar because I didn't have my work status and I was just an intern. And
Are you Canadian?
Well,
Where are you from?
People tell me I'm very funny. I did Atypical, which is comedy, and I really have that like weirdo comedic thing going on. So that's how the story started. And with the hashtag Pay Up Hollywood, I feel like assistants and support team in Hollywood are really not valued for the value that they bring in. They're not paid enough. They go through a lot on daily basis. They're constantly under pressure and nobody gets to see that, what's happening behind the scenes. And I realized that all those stars and influencers actually can't do anything without the support team. And that's what really What Next is about this 20-something-year-old Eastern European immigrant who is constantly facing self-doubt and trying to prove herself whilst having the additional challenge of how am I actually going to legally stay in this country and make it work? And with that additional obstacle, we see all the comedy happening. And what I really, I'm hoping the audience to take out is create that empathy because we meet people constantly on a daily basis and you don't know what's their status in that country. And Americans who were born and bred here actually don't realize the privilege necessarily to be born here and have that opportunity. And the other thing is being Eastern European myself, on TV, we see those characters always not being able to speak English, somehow not being intelligent enough. And we see that girl and perhaps you don't realize that she is Eastern European. But she has that constant tension going on throughout the short film.
Well, Marietta, we're trying to get Rebecca back into Canada.
I need to see this film because I'm going through the same process right now being Canadian. And the amount of struggle that I've had, especially with people not knowing how stressful it is being in the US, not knowing where your visa is coming from, not knowing when it's coming, when you can be legal, when you can just settle in and breathe. Like people don't understand. And I tell that to my American friends. I'm like, you guys don't understand how stressful my life is.
Absolutely. And having all that self-doubt, being in your 20s, proving yourself in this world, and also being in Hollywood where you're constantly under the spotlight. Literally, I had moments where I would work for an influencer and I'll be like, in a next episode of What Next, we'll see how she calls Laura on the phone and she's in jail and Laura needs to take her out of jail. So I personally had that experience. I'm like, what if they ask for my status? Like now I'm dealing on a much more level of visibility and having to figure all that out. I feel like at the time it was very painful and I was crying all the time. But now that I have figured things out, I can laugh at those moments. And it's really a story of empowerment and really following your instincts.
Well, and there's so much importance to learn from, our cultures, coming back and forth and then some. I'm like, okay, now I got the UK to visit. So I'm sure you have friends and family there, right, Marietta? And then, but if I were in your neck of the woods, it would be difficult for me too there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I've lived in the UK and I'm actually originally from Bulgaria. So there's a lot of cultural things going on. And I feel like that's really interesting because America, if anything, it's the country that appreciates and values immigrants.
We do. Do not base it on the people that say we don't. We love it. It's called learning. It's called food, by the way. Oh my God. But my point is this. Make sure you don't have problems here on the home front and make sure you get a good attorney. And Rebecca, if you could have any words, like what don't you do?
I don't know. You need to
Well,
tell me.
actually, I have my green card now, so I'm like way past that. But what not to do?
Don't get deported.
I guess. Well, my first attorney really screwed me over and turned out to not be the right attorney, and had a horror story there. So just really do your research.
It's the
try
right
to get
attorney.
the card. Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
All right.
I'm on it.
Get the website. My attorney screwed me from my green card or something like that, right? So people don't understand the immigration situation. You just don't know. All right. Anyway, thank you very much for getting this to us, Marietta. I cannot wait to see this. We're in international waters with this film festival because we are this year the second time we're online, but the first time we were doing both. So we're doing here at the LA area, again, Regal Cinema. It is a fantastic cinema to be a part of. And of course, Leslie Lepage did it really big this year, online and in person. I can't wait to see your feature.
I hope I make you laugh.
Me too.
Oh, I can already tell. I'm already laughing inside. But I don't want you deported, just like Rebecca said. She got deported, by the way. We're trying to get her underneath the little invisible line. I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
Thank you.
We'll be back right after this. We are here with Linda Nicole and Alex Cole Baker. You are the dynamic duo of sorts. I've been getting the words that you are Poppy, a young woman with Down syndrome, refuses to be defined by her disability and takes control of her own destiny. And New Zealand.
That's correct.
Because they got like coronavirus like nothing there, almost.
A little bit.
Not like
right, but heavily locked down.
Oh yes, we're locked down, but that doesn't not in our part so badly. We're from the Wellington district, and we're not Auckland, which is in major lockdown. Yeah.
So let's talk about the young girl, Poppy. Obviously, the movie. I see her in the poster behind you. A very young, loving girl, I could tell. What was the impetus to get this done and made?
Really, it was quite a long journey. It took a while because what is at the heart of the film is the fact that people with disabilities don't always get a level playing field in life. They get boxed in, they get told to do things, they get treated like they've got an illness. Yeah. And I really wanted to tell the story of a brave, cheeky, naughty, daring girl. And this is the story of Poppy getting what she wants, getting out from under the thumb of her brother, who's her main supporter in life, but not, and just living life to the full, just having what everyone else her age, which is 19, has.
I'm looking at her behind you, and I can tell you right now, I'm glad you did this. I just did a very important seminar when it comes to people with special needs. My sister has special needs. I know a lot of Down syndrome children. I just met a bunch a few weeks ago, and I know, if anything, not only are they raw with their feelings, they're raw with their thoughts, and they are just so raw, period, but people don't understand the stories, especially those surrounding them, that help them out day in and day out. But she's got to melt the hearts of just anyone that she comes across, right?
She does, and she has. so that is great. I mean, there's various levels of Down syndrome that you'd be aware. But, there are some of these young women who are they're just, like I say, boxed in. They need to get out of the box. They need to have the right support and education to make the most of themselves and to have a life like everyone else.
Yeah, I could tell. I'm telling you right now, I can't wait to watch this. Alex, obviously teaming up with Linda, I can imagine Linda kind of seems like the kind that I would say, you know what, I don't care what is in our way, we're going to make it happen.
Absolutely. I mean, she had persevered for years with the script and getting that right, getting that out there. And meanwhile, we were sort of, I guess it was waiting for the right environment to want to make a film like this. It wasn't something when you go to funders and you go to distributors and they go, oh yeah, right, we know how this kind of film went last time, and so that all makes sense and we'll do that. It was like, this is something different. So few films have a lead character that has a disability. So yeah, Linda really persevered with that. Then the right thing came together for the funding. Sometimes it's just about the timing. So I came on board after Linda had been doing this for, quite some years herself. And then absolutely she had to, lead an untrained actor through their first dramatic feature. So yeah, absolutely some definite fortitude and stickitude there in Linda. So.
Well, I'm looking at some of your Instagrams. I think we can follow you. It is Poppy Loves Cars. Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah.
Poppy does love cars, and her ambition to be a mechanic. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, so that's the story of a girl who wants to learn to drive, which is a bit of a rarity, with Down syndrome, although it does happen. If you can pass the test, you can drive like the rest. That's an old tagline, but a good one that I incorporated into the film. So,
Great.
yeah.
Well, the poster looks amazing. I can't wait to see it. Rebecca, do you have any last questions?
I guess the only thing is I'm wondering, with a first-time actor and with somebody challenged, was that the biggest challenge in making this film, or what? How did that process go?
No, not really. The biggest challenge, I think, was getting it funded, and that was just because it was something that was a new idea, having someone in the main role, not like our beloved Glee and things like that, which have put different people in, looked at different disabilities. This was having one person driving the film, and Libby, the actor, was fantastic. We picked her out of 22 girls that came forward, and we just supported her to be able to do her job. That was the main thing. Yeah. So she had a coach, she had a caravan, she had all the things that, an actor would like.
Yeah.
And we really looked after her and made sure that, the scheduling was right, everything was right, so she could give her best performance.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Yes, it's happening, and I'm telling you, Rebecca and everybody else in international waters, you don't have to be in Los Angeles. I'm telling you, Linda. Speaking of which, are you excited about that this year, we can do both?
I am so excited. In fact, all the people I know in the US that haven't been able to see the film so far, I've got a big list of them. I'm sending it out as soon as we know when the film is coming on.
Good.
And we will be pushing it with, at least 20 to 30 people that we know who will want to see the film by your fabulous festival. Thank you.
Well, we're excited. We've got a South African also talking, then Claire. She's going to be able to tune in. Other people are tuning in from around the world as well, and they get to be able to tune in. Again, La Femme Film Festival is easy to find. It's lafemme.org. Although I like the way Rebecca says it. How do you say it, Rebecca?
La Femme.
There you go. Yeah,
that's
much
what
better.
I tried to say.
La Femme International Film Festival.
Yes. There. Oh, wow. Yes. I'm going to let you go to the outro. Go ahead, Rebecca.
So,
take us out.
We're going to break, and we'll be right back.
Thanks.
We are here with somebody that I'm telling you right now, I've already got a lot to learn from. Robin Stalson, Adventures of Zizwe. Did I get it right or wrong? I can guarantee you right now, I'm learning.
No, you got it correctly. It is The Adventures of Zizwe. And sadly, I'm not seeing myself on the screen. I'm seeing a double of Rebecca. But
we see you.
Oh, well, that's important. Very good. Yes. I won't get distracted. But The Adventures of Zizwe is a spiritual animation series, and Zizwe is a little Zulu girl. And the idea came to me as I did a lot of spiritual, esoteric travel around Africa. And I've always been interested in the country of South Africa and the continent of Africa. And I was very fascinated by the indigenous wisdom that these young women have, or this young woman had. And so the idea of the entire series is to be able to use indigenous wisdom of the ancestors of 3 mystics. One of them is from South Africa, that's Zizwe. Her friend is a Celtic. There's a Mayan girl as well. And then there's also a lady from the Aboriginal cultures. And they come together, and the whole idea is to use their ancestral wisdom to solve the world's problems. Because clearly, what we've got going right now is not doing a whole lot of good. So the idea is to build a sense of pride and a sense of pride and a sense of knowledge that the wisdom of the ancient cultures can certainly be of great use in today's world.
Well, I already love it. Zizwe and the Mystics. I'm like ready for this to become a real band. What do you think, Rebecca?
I'm in. Can I be one of the band members?
Yes.
I'm not that knowledgeable. I wish I was more knowledgeable in that culture. And they look like it looks like they're very wise and fun.
Right. And the idea, Rebecca, is that each one of them plays an instrument, and they come together in a band. Some of the instruments are very traditional to their culture, like Zizwe plays the drums. The lady from the Aboriginal goddess, she plays the didgeridoo. And we've also got a guitar, and we've also got a flute. And so they come together and they use their music as part of their stage, as part of their the way they can be effective in the world. And so it's kind of hip and it's fun. I've taken the costumes and made them much more kind of funky and contemporary, but we're still, of course, within the context of the ancient wisdom and the indigenous culture. And so the hope is that they will be able to relate to a young female audience, and that they can find it fun, that they can find that the information is exciting, and it's got a real sense of togetherness. There's a Zulu word called Ubuntu, and that basically means that in coming together with all these feminine powers and the wisdom of the ancient cultures, they can make a difference. So it's kind of using a cultural bridge to make a difference.
I absolutely love that. And I can't wait to see this.
Thank you so very much. We're so excited. It's the first time effort for myself. I've never been in the film industry, so it's kind of...
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much. We're looking forward to it.
Well, I'm going to say this. I love animated features, and it is going to take, I think you need like a collaboration of Gem and the Star. What was it?
Yes, Gem.
And then like a cross between these two, and then you bring in the Pussycats, and then you bring those 3 in, and then they like all fight around the world.
Yeah, it definitely looked like Gem. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you want to. That's the idea.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, thank you, Robin, for spending time with us here on the La Femme Film Festival 2021 International, everywhere and then some.
Thank you so much.
Joining us right now are 2 women that I'm telling you right now, love in 2020 is kind of complicated already. But Christina, Anna, you guys put this project together. It's one of which I go, okay, where do we go from here? I think you kind of have an idea of what you're doing on this feature.
Hi there.
Hello.
Yes, we're very excited and happy to be here. Anna Joller, actress and producer, Christina, and then Aaron, our director, is on the line as well.
Awesome. So talk to me about this project. Obviously, Love in 2020 is already like, well, I don't know. I'm not going to judge it. Love for me was difficult, but love for everyone else. What is it?
Yeah, so we made a 6-episode web series about dating during COVID, which we plan to make into a feature film. But yeah, we started writing and working on it actually during the pandemic of March of 2020. So it was a really interesting experience to kind of be creating something while everything was going on, as we know, during the pandemic. But it also kind of became this like source of creative focus for all of us. Yeah, I was actually single and dating during this time, so it's loosely based on some of my experience. But yeah, it's a rom-com. It's really fun, very bingeable. Each episode is about 5 minutes, and we hope you guys enjoy it.
Well, I can tell Anna was intrigued by it, as well as Christina. Did you guys get any thoughts in between to go, you know what, love sucks, why do it? or you're still hopeful? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it was, you know, it's about love, but it's not just about dating. Like, I think the big thing with the series is that we were trying to say is that the importance of falling in love with yourself. And that really goes back to just the story we wanted to tell about this female character that we all really identified with and believe represents a lot of women, which is that, you know, this is a woman who is praised for her ability to be likable and agreeable and to not say no and to be nice and all these things. And how if you're always putting everybody else's needs before yourself, that's really an impediment when it comes to dating. And what does it mean if that kind of woman is stuck alone with herself and isolated and has to face like, this is who I am, and I better get comfortable with that and start to like that. And that's really necessary before you can find love outside of yourself.
Okay, you all work together really well. I could tell already. You probably are able to do things that I think other filmmakers haven't been able to do, and being able to kind of like meet in this space of La Femme Film Festival. Again, you know, 17 years is what Leslie has done. And I don't know how many times or if you guys heard of the festival from before, but I will say going forward, you know, are there nuggets that you guys took from this project that you say, man, I'm so glad we did this. Let's get down to the next one. Or you're already in the next one?
Yeah, well, I just want to say that we were lucky enough to be a part of the festival actually in 2015 for a series that Aaron and I worked on together. So we know how fabulous the festival is. We're so grateful to be alumni and are really excited to be back. And yeah, the filmmaking process was just truly a dream, like being able to create and work with your best friends, especially during a time when, again, we were all stuck at home.
Yeah.
And we, you know, it just gave us such an amazing sense of purpose. And we learned so much from it. So yeah, we're definitely like, we're ready to get back to it. And yeah,
Good.
like Aaron mentioned earlier, we're hoping to make it into a feature. So yeah, hopefully we can just continue on this festival run and then get back to work.
Well, I will say I'm glad that you guys are all doing it together. I will say you motivate people, you keep people moving forward. And I will say this, love in 2020, love in 2022. What do you guys forecast with this film?
Well, there's the feature project. So we're, I'm working on the script now, and we're hoping that it will get turned into an indie feature where, you know, we can tell a larger story about, there's just so much to say still about this experience and the different kind of milestones that we've all been trying to navigate. And, but we want to, no matter what, I think we all really just want to keep the message hopeful and yeah, just keep it positive and give people a reason to feel less alone.
Well, I think it's the right thing to do. I think even whether you find love or not, know that you have friends like all of you, and then you just move forward regardless of what is in your life or what isn't in your life. And then know that especially when the creative spark is kind of lit, you have friends to get you to the next level. I think this is a great team, by the way. I kind of want to like say and pick your brain more, but unfortunately we're out of time. The La Femme Film Festival, before we let everybody go, why should they tune in?
Oh my gosh, well, if you love rom-coms, and specifically this is a rom-com about falling in love with yourself, so it's really fun. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you feel hopeful, like Anna said. It's super easy to watch, and it's really fun.
All right. I think she said it just right. Congratulations, all of you. We can't wait to see more, especially at the awards and the after party, okay? We'll see you. All right, everybody. I'm out of time. I'm glad you guys all joined us. Again, check it out, lafemme.org. There's more right after this. Stay tuned.